Welcome, and thank you for joining us today for this parent and family webinar on how to eat on campus with Brown Dining Services. My name is Tiffany Lina, and I will be moderating this discussion today. And we welcome you to submit any questions you may have at the bottom of the screen to the Q&A tab. And after a brief presentation by our panelists, we'll answer your questions about dining at Brown. So please let me introduce our panelists for today. Jesse Curran, who is our Director of Wellness and Nutrition, and Bobby Noyes, who is our Director of Retail Operations.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm just going to share my screen so you can see my presentation, or Bobby and I's presentation. So today we are going to just go over for about 15 minutes. Bobby and I will do an overview of dining services, go over some of the things that we find that come up most frequently for questions for people. And then, like Tiffany said, we'll spend a good portion of this session answering your specific questions. So we find that something that is definitely confusing to people from the outside, so parents, family members who are in your situation, and even students for a little while before they get adjusted to being on campus, is what do all of these components of the meal plan really mean? So I guess the fortunate thing for first year students is that there are only two options for them. So it makes it a little bit easier for us to talk about the differences between the two and sort of what are the nuances of each of these two meal plans. So first year students would have the option to be on either the weekly 20 plan or the Flex 460. Generally speaking, they are both meant to provide a student with 3 meals a day plus some wiggle room for some snacks. So with either plan, your child or your family member will have access to 3 meals a day, so no one should hopefully be going hungry, but there is a little bit of a difference between each of those two plans. So the weekly 20 really is best for a student who eats a structured 3 meals a day because they're going to be getting 20 meal credits loaded onto their ID card each week. And what is distinct about this one, and probably the most important feature to remember with this plan, that if you are not using those 20 credits in a week, you lose them. So at each time, the designated time, when your new credits are being loaded, anything that was unused get wiped from your card. And you also have an additional 200 flex points to use, and I'll talk a little bit about the differences in a second between meal credits and flex points. And what's different from the Flex 460 is that you get a lump sum of those meal credits at the beginning of the semester, and it's at your discretion to manage them throughout the semester. So they won't be cleared until the end of the semester. So you may have a day when you're actually going and eating 4 meals, and then the next day you're eating 2 meals, and it really doesn't impact you all that much because you're not having this preloaded amount coming onto your card and eliminating the previous week's credits. So again, we sort of say that's for a student who maybe is a little less routine in their day. And meal credits versus points, the difference is that a meal credit allows you to get a full meal, and points are allowing you to buy something a la carte. So really a point, it's sort of like $1. It's a declining balance of these lump sum of flex points. You see the difference between the amount on each of the plans, and you use it if you went into a location and you just wanted a coffee, or if you just wanted a bagel, you could use your points rather than the difference really is when you go into a dining hall, that's all you care to eat. That's when we're taking a credit. So 1 credit, and then you get to eat as much as you want. We're really not designating the price of individual food that's available in those locations. So that's the most basic way to explain these things. We do have different nuances that students can figure out as they go, but generally speaking, these are the most important things to keep in mind about the different meal plans. I don't know, Bobby, if you have anything that you think is worthwhile adding about the meal plan selection.
Yeah, no, I think you covered it. we designed it to try to be as flexible as possible to everyone on meal plan. And I think the meal credit versus point allocation is really nice because, as Jesse mentioned, it entitles them to, to use their meals throughout the day, but also gives them the flexibility to use flex points, maybe in between meals or late at night if they're up studying or out and about on campus.
And then the one final thing I'll add to that is all students automatically have that Flex 20 added to their ID. So if you want to keep the Flex 20 plan, there isn't anything that you need to do. If you did want to switch to the Flex 460, that's when you need to go onto your student account and make that change. You do have a little bit of time, and I can actually show the website at the end. I think some of the information that I'll get into pertaining to another question that comes up, where to find dates on our website about when these changes have to be made by. But if the if the weekly 20 seems like that will work for the student in your life, then nothing needs to be done. If you would like to change over to the Flex 460, that's when you either need to go on the student account or come in directly to our office on campus to make that change. So Bobby and I will each run through the different locations on campus just to give you a lay of the land. Where are students eating? What are they getting at each of these locations? How are they really using their meal plan? So the Sharp Refectory, or what students call the Ratty, is the largest location on campus. It's certainly a first year hub because it's the first location that everybody is introduced to. So when the student arrives and is participating in orientation, really this is where they're eating first. So they get familiarized with the Ratty first. It's sort of like the cornerstone of our dining program, has the largest kitchen, has the most options, has the largest seating capacity. So it is open every day from 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. And this is what I was saying before, this is one of those locations that is considered all you care to eat service. So the traditional dining hall, you swipe in at the cashier station and you can take anything you want. So you might go to the salad bar first, sit down for a little while, eat that, go grab pizza, grab dessert. You're just coming and going from the different stations that are in this location. And there's plenty of in-person seating. We did just redo some of the seating in there. So returning students will be pleasantly surprised to see a different look inside the Ratty, and new students will be excited to see that we've expanded the amount of people who can fit in this space. So again, not to get too detailed into this, but essentially people are using their meal credits at this location. You can use points to get into this location as well. So if a student was on the Flex 460 and maybe ran out of credits at the end of the semester and found that they had points, they could use their points for a door rate to get in. But for the most part, this is where one of the locations where students are using their meal credits to enter. And it has all the traditional things that you would expect to be in a dining hall. The grill is open every day with things like turkey burgers, grilled chicken, hot dogs, veggie burgers. We have an enormous salad bar, pizza, what we call a bold station, where you can build your own grain bowl, comforts options. So those are the rotating daily specials, which include vegan, vegetarian hot meals with animal proteins, sides, starches. So it's really, there are tons of options. It takes a little while to familiarize yourself with this space and see everything that's available. But I would say first years do spend a good amount of time eating in the Ratty. And then the Vernie Woolley, or what students call the VDub, is similar to the Ratty in that follows that same model where you swipe in at the cashier station using a meal credit, and then you can eat anything that you want. It's all you care to eat operation. It's a little bit smaller, and this location, as you see up on the screen, is only open from Monday through Friday, but open a little bit later. It's close to the athletic facility, so we do that so students getting out of late practices can still get over and get a full meal. So that's why we've stretched the hours a little bit longer in this location. Similar about accepting both meal credits and points to get in. It includes stations like a taqueria. So at lunch and dinner every day, there's a taqueria that is similar to like a Chipotle style. You can build something as a burrito, tacos, a taco bowl. There's also a grain bowl station here, salad bars, those same comfort entrees. And this has a particular focus on wellness. It's in close proximity again to the wellness dorms, the new dorms that were built on campus and open as of last semester. So being close to the athletic facilities and the wellness dorm, we do have the chef focusing in particular on making things healthy, making healthier fare available every day. So just as one example, they have fish on every day. So that's a nice thing that students might be looking for specifically. So they might find themselves eating at the VDub. Do you want to take the Ivy Room, Bobby?
Sure thing. Thanks, Jesse.
Okay.
So Ivy Room is actually located above the location that was shown on the first slide, the Sharp Refectory, or the Ratty, as we refer to it. This location operates a little bit more in a retail format, where students are able to use their meal equivalencies for the meal periods that are outlined, lunch 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. and then dinner 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. However, they can also buy items a la carte, and they can use their flex points or bear bucks. This year, we're actually rolling out a mobile ordering option at this location. And we really focus on doing different concepts at this location, where upstairs is all you care to eat, kind of covers all the basics and the general bases, where down here, it's a little bit of a smaller space. So we focus on putting out a really good seasonal smoothie station. We have an avocado toast station, which is really popular. And we also feature local area restaurants that come in and do what we call a pop-up or a menu takeover. And they sell their food that night, and students are able to use their meal equivalency slips to purchase their food. So really popular location. Again, very central location because it is downstairs. If it's busy during a certain meal period, especially at lunch, maybe at the Ratty, especially when school starts and students are just finding their way, the Ivy Room's a really good option to go down and grab something quick on the go. All right, next up we have Andrews Commons. This also falls under more of the retail umbrella, and I refer to it as retail because everything is sold in a la carte format. Now, we do allow all meal plan participants to use their meal equivalencies at our retail units, such as Andrews Commons and the Ivy Room on the slide before. And we really think that kind of differentiates us from some of our peers, where typically on a lot of college campuses, the retail eateries or quick service establishments are points or bear bucks only. So we do allow them to use their meal equivalencies at these locations. It is a la carte, so they can select as little or as much as they want. It's not an all you care to eat format. So they are going into the different platforms and stations, making their selections and bringing their order out with a cashier like they would at a quick service establishment. However, they can just use their card, and they can use their meal swipes, points, or bear bucks. Andrews is also focuses on serving a lot of the first years. It's located underneath Andrews dormitory and right next to Miller Metcalf, which houses a lot of first years. So what we do here is really focus on, again, concepts. We have a very strong pizza program here, where we have a wood stone oven. That's really the focus of one of our stations. We have a wok on the other side where we focus on primarily Southeast Asian dishes, but also Pan Asian dishes. And again, we do a lot of specials here. It's a very chef-driven menu. So we try to introduce on-trend items at this location. And the good thing about this is everything's kind of cooked out in front in an action station format. So it allows us to really customize any concept that we roll out. So we do focus on specific things here and do them well, but you can get a different version of them every time you visit because all of our menu items are customizable here at our platforms.
Bobby, do you want to I don't think I used the language meal equivalency. Do you want to just explain what that is?
Yeah, so a meal equivalency is we refer to in the retail outlets as a meal swipe. So they, when they go in, if they want to use one swipe for dinner and get a meal combo at any of these retail units, we refer to that as a meal equivalency. So the equivalency of a meal is taken off of their meal plan. So instead of swiping at the door at the VDub or at the Ratty and having a meal deducted from their account, they swipe at the register to pay for their items and have a meal deducted at their count at a retail unit.
Great.
Josiahs, another a la carte location. This is actually located on the other side of campus as Andrews Commons. Andrews, we do have locations laid out on every corner of campus. So Andrews is on the north end or Pembroke campus if you're looking at a map. The Sharp Refectory and Ivy Room are kind of in the middle of campus, and Josiah's is more on the south end of campus. This is our late night eatery. It is open until 2 a.m. every day. So we do dinner service starting at 6, and then we go all the way through the wee hours of the night till 2 a.m. Again, same format as Andrews, where everything's a la carte. However, meal equivalency and meal swipes are accepted at this location as well. We focus on doing a really good grass-fed Angus beef burger station. Again, everything customizable, made to as close as order as possible, made to, you know, your specifications, endless customization at all these stations. We have a big salad bar in the middle of the unit that's also done in action station format. It's actually the largest salad station on campus. Endless customization on that station as well. And then we do some late night favorites to complement meals like fries, mozzarella sticks, chicken wings, chicken fingers. We have a pop-up special station at this location as well. And we do everything from tacos, quesadillas, to gourmet grilled cheese, grain bowls, poke bowls, just about anything. We do a big rotation of specials at this location. And for added convenience, we have items that are self-serve available in the middle of the service area that are more convenience items. So packaged things, yogurts, different smoothies, oatmeal, muffins, things that they can take if they're in late at night and maybe, you know, eat them for breakfast the next morning. If they want to sleep in and, you know, they don't have time to go to the dining hall, or if they're going right to class or they have a busy morning, they have the option of using their meal swipes to purchase these items and have them the next day. The School of Engineering, or what we refer to as the SOE, is our coffee-focused cafe that's located in the lobby of the brand new School of Engineering building on Brook Street. This one's really close by to the Ratty, and it has a really good central location as well. We partner with a local roaster in Providence called New Harvest Coffee, and we run the coffee bar in conjunction with them. We have a full espresso program here. We have a lot of grab and go options. And kind of on the go things that people can grab in between classes for lunch or a quick snack.
I thought we would just make a plug in case anybody knows of someone who.
This is the best idea of the day.
Yeah, you know, so I'll just talk a little bit about the internships, and then Bobby, you can talk about the other positions that are available. But we do, for students who maybe want to understand the administrative side of dining services, we have positions such as a sustainability internship. We have food sourcing interns. We have social media interns, nutrition interns. This gives students an opportunity to get involved with the management team, start to understand exactly what's going behind the scenes. How do we make decisions about purchasing? How do we make decisions about what goes on the menu? How do we help students who have allergies or special needs? We do have right now 3 of those internships are filled. We will be hiring for a nutrition intern. So, you know, look out for those positions. All the hiring is done through Workday, which students will start to get familiar with once they're on campus. But I would always interested in having students around who have a real interest in food, local food, sustainability, health. Those are usually the individuals who reach out to us to get involved in those positions.
Yeah, and then in terms of actual part-time employment, we have those opportunities as well in all of our units, working at every unit that we just mentioned. As part-time workers, they can work on a sandwich station, they could be a barista at our coffee shop, they could work kind of behind the scenes in our kitchen, helping our chefs prep, work on the cashier station at some of our retail outlets. There's really endless possibility. We, when we're during peak time, we have over 200 student positions that are actually working with us every day, and it's a big part of our program. And I think the community that's built around our student employment program is second to none. I think everyone that takes part in it has a lot of fun and is able to earn some extra spending money while they're at it too. And free meals is definitely a big perk, and they get a free shift meal for every shift that they work. And they meet lots of good friends, and it's a great environment.
So we know some of you submitted questions beforehand, and I'm sure people have been submitting questions throughout the presentation. So Tiffany, however you feel is the best way to get about this, and we'll try to go over as many questions as we can. You'll see some contact information up there. So if your question doesn't get answered, please feel free to just be in touch in other ways.
Thanks, Jesse. So I think what we're going to try to do is consolidate similar questions so that ideally we can get through as many different topics as possible. So there were a lot of questions about food options for vegans and vegetarians. What is available and where students can find those types of food. So if you could speak to what is available for vegans and vegetarians, that would be great.
Okay, I'll start, and then Bobby will have a much more detailed answer to this. But so we don't like to think of vegan and vegetarians as an afterthought. There's no location on campus where you can't find those options. And frankly, because I don't know how much we emphasize this, I think Bobby did a good job pointing this out, but every station really at this point is customizable. So you have the option to omit or add whatever it is that you want. So really, if you're going up to a sandwich station, a salad bar, a grain bowl station, even the burger bars, because we offer things like veggie burgers at those places, you should be able to make a vegan and vegetarian option really everywhere you go. We do indicate if something is vegan and vegetarian to help, call attention to something, or, if there might be a question of a sauce or a particular product, for instance, a veggie burger, like you don't necessarily know unless someone calls it out in a label if it's vegan or vegetarian. So we do indicate those things on our signage in the dining halls, as well as menus that are online. Some students prefer to make decisions about where they're going that day based on what's on the menu. So if it's easier for someone, they can go online and check out the menus on our website beforehand. We also have something that's called menu mail that you can sign up for. You pick the locations that you're interested in getting a notification about, and each morning you would get an email with the full menu for, so say you signed up for the refectory, you would get an email in the morning saying what's on the daily menu for that location. But Bobby can go into some specifics, but I would say, broadly speaking, we have vegan and vegetarian options available at all of our locations and almost all the stations.
Yeah, you nailed it, Jesse. I could go in a little bit more detail or give an example. So a station that many people think, if I'm, eating vegan or vegetarian, I can't eat at this station, but I'll use the Josiahs burger bar. It's completely customizable, as I mentioned. So say if you wanted the same experience that your friend's that's getting a Angus beef burger, you could go and you could get an Impossible beef burger or kind of a traditional veggie burger, and they're cooked on different flat tops. So there's no cross-contamination. They remain vegan. We have vegan cheese available if you want to go that route, and even our quote unquote secret sauce, or what we affectionately call Joe sauce, is available in vegan form. So you can get the same exact dish, yours being a vegan burger, your friend's being an all beef burger, at our burger stations. And then we have huge platforms where it's a lot easier. And I'd say the vegan vegetarian items greatly outweigh the animal protein items, like our salad bar at Josiahs, where there might be 60 different items on that salad bar on a given night, and maybe only 6 of them have animal protein. So that's really easy to eat vegetarian or vegan. And we really try to do that at all our stations. Again, customization is really, really important to us. It keeps our customers from being tired of, even though if it's something that we make great, eating the same thing and kind of getting bored of eating the same thing over and over again. So Jesse nailed it. I think we rely very heavily on customization and choice.
Oh, Tiffany, you're muted.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you for explaining about the vegan and vegetarian options. The next question involves students who have food allergies or who have restricted diets, and how they can navigate the dining halls. What are options available to them, and how do we handle different foods that have allergens in them, such as peanuts or tree nuts?
So I could probably get quite long-winded on this because of this is the area that I'm working in all the time. But I will just say the best advice that I can give is have the student reach out directly to me. My email is up there. I do notice that there's a typo, but it should be obvious that the brown has an N in it. But I think making contact, particularly if you have severe allergies, letting us know who you are, what your needs are, because as everybody knows, these can be quite individualized. What the needs are not the same for every single person. And it's just helpful for me to talk specifically about what is the allergy that you're dealing with, or the dietary restriction. Where are you eating most frequently? What resources do you have? What types of foods do you eat? So we can talk about your case specifically. But I'm sure people are curious what some examples of those resources are, so I can go through some of that. We have a program that is available to students who have very severe allergies or severe dietary restrictions, celiac disease, Crohn's disease, where if it is needed, a student can have their meals individually made so that they are eliminating opportunities for cross contact. Because in many of our locations, the operation is self-serve. It's buffet style. Someone's going up to a salad bar. Someone's going to a deli station making their own sandwich. So there are a lot of opportunities for cross contact. So if someone has very severe allergies, we have a very specific program for them where food is made separately. They do order their meals ahead. But that's not necessary for everyone. Well, first I will say for students who are participating in that, it doesn't exclude them from the experience of being in dining. Their food might be made separately, but they're still experiencing the dining halls like everyone else because they're taking their food in the same spaces and eating together and eating with everyone else. But for those who need real consideration taken on how the food is prepared, we do have accommodations for those individuals. Again, the best first step to have access to that or initiate that conversation, if you think that's something a student needs, is to just email me directly, and then we'll go through the process to make those things available. If someone doesn't need that level of attention or just wants more basic information, we also have things available like a website that's mymeal.brown.edu. It lists everything that we have on our menu and all the ingredients. It also flags for the top 8 allergens. I know sesame is coming down the pipe. We don't currently label for that in terms of an allergen flag, but because every single ingredient, including the sub-ingredients for a menu item, is listed on that site, an individual who is avoiding anything should be able to find the information that they need there. So that's mymeal.brown.edu. If somebody again is just looking more generally for things like if something's vegan, if something's made without gluten, we also use icons on our menus on our website, on the labeling on the line, with again what we call core icons that might give somebody just a higher level information on a menu item. But all of this to say is it can be difficult to understand what is available and how to navigate without taking some time talking to myself, if necessary, collaborating with one of the culinarians who's in the space to really figure out what level of specificity do you need, what level of attention do you need? Is this just trying to understand how can I find the information on my own so that I can self-navigate, or is this a situation where it would really be safer for you to have food prepared in a different way? All of those things are accessible. It's just coming forward, making yourself, making dining aware of who you are so that we can start to have that conversation. And the best first step is to reach out to me. You might be wanting to do this simultaneously if you think that there are other needs related to food, like a housing need might be happening as well. Then you should also reach out to the office that is known as SAS, Student Accommodation Services. I think you can either just search that in the Brown website, or I believe it's sas@brown.edu is their email address. But hopefully that gives people a general idea. Tiffany, you did reference things like peanuts and tree nuts. I know that many students come in needing to avoid things like peanuts and tree nuts, and we do have policies around how we engage with those products. None of our locations are peanut and tree nut free. So we do like to make that clear, but we do have guidelines about how we interact with those different things and make places safe for individuals. Again, probably the easiest way to get specifics on what exactly are our policies and how can you feel comfortable eating in those spaces if you need to avoid peanuts, tree nuts, or any allergy, is to just reach out to me so we can talk specifics, and I can get you more details about how you will be individually affected.
Thank you very much, Jessie. The next few questions are around the flex points and meal equivalencies. There were a lot of questions asking for clarification on what those are, what the values are, and how they're used, especially in retail, if someone wants something a la carte versus a meal. So if you could maybe just provide a little bit more detail on how and when to use flex points versus a meal credit.
Sure, yeah, I can take a stab at that one. So as mentioned, Josiahs, Andrews, those are our big retail units. We serve quite a few meals out of those locations. They're open every day. Josiahs is our late night eatery, so there is a time on campus where that is our only full service eatery that's available. So we do serve quite a few meals out of both locations. So just a snapshot, again, both of those locations, everything that's located inside the walls of the unit are priced to sell a la carte. We also have and package meal combos where if you're I'll use the walk station at Andrews for an example. If you're patroning the walk station, you can go and make your selection of, noodles, rice, any of the stir-fried dishes, whatever the special is that night. That's your meal portion. You select that. And then to make it a combo in the service area, which is self-serve, you're entitled to select whatever beverage you want. You're entitled to a side, and you're entitled to a dessert. And then those items are then brought up to the cashier, and the cashier will ring you out for those items. The meal combo, dollar-wise, will be priced this year at $8.95. So you would then have the choice to use your meal equivalency for one meal, or you could pay with points because all those items added up to the meal combo, the $8.95 retail value. So you could use your flex points, or you could even use your bear bucks. So that's just a general overview example of how you would use a meal. I think where the real flexibility comes in is if you were just in between classes and you wanted a quick snack, like a bag of chips and a beverage or a piece of fruit, you could go in and just select those items. Those items are priced a la carte. Those certainly wouldn't cost you a full meal. You could just use points to pay for those items. So, if the transaction, all those items together was $3 or $4, you would probably want to use points for those because it's not the value of the $8.95 meal equivalency.
and maybe this is obvious, but I'll just say it. And so 1 point is essentially $1. So where you saw at the beginning, those meal points, it included, I think, 200 out for one level and 250 for the Flex 460. So that's essentially $200 or $250.
Correct.
And not to further confuse things, but Bobby did reference Bear Bucks, so we might as well just say what that is. That isn't necessarily a part, that's not a part of your meal plan. It's just a tender that we accept. So Bear Bucks are accepted for a lot of different things on campus. I believe things like laundry, in the bookstore. So again, it's just like a debit card, but it has a currency on there that is only accepted for Brown, and meal dining halls just happen to also accept that. So it's not a part of your meal plan, but you can use it in our dining locations.
Thank you very much. I guess continuing on with flex points, there were a few questions about whether or not a student can add more flex points to his card and how often that can happen. Can that be done weekly, or can that only be done once during the semester? So if you could speak to that a bit, please.
Okay, so I don't know the exact rules, but generally speaking, you need to get to a certain level. So like say it's 10 points that are remaining on your card, that's when you're able to add more points. And the reason that we do that is because at the end of the academic year, if you have points remaining on your card, they will not roll into the next year. So we don't want to get to the end. If somebody continuously is adding points and they get to the end of the academic year and they have 200 points left and they're frustrated because we're not going to reimburse them for that, that's why we have that rule that you need to get. I don't know if 10 points is the exact number. There is an area of our website that references that. If you just go under the meal plan section, it will have all of those rules. But you have to get to a threshold before you're allowed to add points. But there isn't, to my knowledge, you can do that as many times as you need to. We're just not going to let you build up like 500 points on your card, because there will be a point at which people are frustrated because it's not going to roll over into the next year.
Thank you. There were a few questions about eating kind of after hours. So if you could talk a bit about late night options or early morning options, and any to-go options, like just grab and go options that students might be able to have for meals.
Sure. So as mentioned, Josiahs is our late night eatery, full eatery with full menu. That's open till 2 a.m. every day of the week. And if you look at our program across campus, there's actually only 5 hours when there's not a full service dining hall in operation. And that's from 2 a.m. to when our next one opens up at 7 a.m. for breakfast. However, in between there, we do have many vending machines that have really evolved throughout the years and have some really cool offerings, in my opinion, healthy snacks, not your traditional vending offerings. And they're located across campus. They're in the basement of every large residence hall, so you don't have to go far. They're in the bottom level or lobby of every large library and study area. And those are accessible 24 hours a day. So there are always options on campus for food. And even for full-blown dining, we almost cover 24 hours a day with our eateries. And Josiahs is open full menu until 2 a.m. We also have in the vending machines grab and go sandwiches and salads. Tiffany mentioned grab and go. And throughout the day in our other units, in our retail units especially, we do have package items that are designed for someone that's in a little bit more of a hurry or maybe doesn't want a full meal. Salads, hummus cups, parfait cups, overnight oats, hand fruit salad, things of that nature that are in package format that you can literally just grab without a wait and you're on your way. So we do have a pretty robust offering of that. And one thing that we didn't mention in the slide because we're more focusing on the dining locations, but we do operate a small C-store on campus where students can use their flex points, and there's grab and go food items as well as convenience items located in that store.
Thank you very much, Bobby. And I think this one is mostly for Jesse. There were a few questions about where students can find information about nutrition and ingredients for the different meals that they might have.
Yep, so the most detailed level of information is available at that website that I referenced earlier, mymeal.brown.edu. That has ingredients lists for everything, as well as nutrition facts panels. So because of the system that we use, we input our recipes, it does make a nutrition facts panel for everything that we're offering. So if you were curious about, just a traditional nutrition facts panel that you would see on any grocery item, we do have that for everything that we offer in our dining halls. I think students probably more frequently are using it to see the ingredients lists, but same thing, you would click on the menu item and it tells you everything that's in there. It indicates the top 8 allergens, if it contains gluten, if it contains alcohol. The nice thing about that site, if you're looking for something in particular, so say you avoid dairy, if you click the dairy icon on the right-hand side of that page, it will remove everything from the website that has, or that from our menu that has dairy in it. So that's a handy feature of that tool as well. If people aren't looking for that level of detail, our website that lists our menus do have restaurant style descriptions. So if you were just curious about what is tikka masala, it would just give a restaurant style description, and then it would we indicate if things are vegan, if they're vegetarian, if they're made without gluten, and halal. And then we do have some other icons that we use around sustainability. So if something's local, if something meets the seafood watch criteria. So we try to give out as much information as possible. All of that are things that are available to you online. They do come up on a mobile phone, so you can use it when you're physically in the space, or you can use it to help you plan ahead and make decisions about where you want to eat. I would say, again, even though all that information is available to students, if people are looking at information because of very severe allergies or other dietary concerns, it's still really important to reach out to me so that dining is aware of you, just so that we're having that individualized conversation and clear on what we do and what we don't do. I think that is really important. But for just people who are interested in what's in the food, either our website, that dining.brown.edu, or mymeal.brown.edu are 2 really good places to look for that information.
Thank you very much, Jesse. There were a few questions about changing or updating meal plans. And so I guess if you could speak to whether or not there's a deadline by which a student can change or adjust a meal plan during the semester, and what those deadlines might be, like a few weeks, or can the student change the meal plan at any time?
Yeah, so there's a window. Maybe it's easiest if I just show that portion of our website. I'm just going to exit this. And are you all still seeing my screen? Okay. So let's just start from the beginning. So if you go to our website, which is dining.brown.edu, there's a ton of information under this meal plans panel. So when you click that, you can see there's many tabs. So it describes all the different dining plan options. There's a bunch of frequently asked questions, dining services resources, but then this important dates, it will take you to that information. So it shows you right here that right now we're in the window where you can make any online changes that you want, but you'll see by the 7th, after the 7th, to make a meal plan change, it will be a fee of $10. So any changes that you want to make really should be done before the 7th. It does give you, for first years, because they arrive on campus on the 2nd and start using their meal plan on the 2nd, it does give them like 5 days to make a decision about what plan they want to be on. But if you try to make a change within that window, the 7th to the 22nd, it will be a $10 fee. And after the 22nd, you can't make a change for the semester anymore.
Thank you very much, Jesse. And there were a few questions about kosher and halal meal plans. So if you could talk a little bit about what the students' options are for eating kosher or eating halal.
Yeah, so we do have a specific kosher halal meal plan that a student can opt into. It is a kosher halal 20 weekly, so it's at that highest level. For first years, it doesn't really impact you all that much because you're required to be at that level anyways. But I'll just speak to the kosher offerings first, and then I'll discuss what we do for halal. So for kosher, because we don't have any kosher kitchens on campus, we have a partnership with a kosher caterer, and they deliver food every day for those students. We really appreciate when a student specifically signs up for that kosher plan, because then we know that they need access to those meals and we can plan accordingly, because of course we need to communicate with that caterer to say, you know, we need 15 meals a day, or we need 20, or we need 2. So indicating that you are on that plan helps us a lot, but it doesn't exclude you from anything else. If you are on the kosher halal meal plan, you could come into the refectory and, you know, no one's going to know. It's not going to stop you from eating off of the salad bar or something. You know, every student has different sort of needs and interests in how they're eating. So we do provide meals for you if you are eating off of the kosher plan by way of getting those meals through the kosher caterer. Halal is a little bit different now. You don't necessarily need to sign up for that plan separately, because we've switched over to all halal chicken. And then, so everywhere on campus where we're cooking from fresh chicken, it is halal now. The reason why I'm distinguishing between fresh is because sometimes we do, so like our fried chicken fingers, where those are coming in as a breaded product, and we also had fried chicken sandwiches. Those are distinct and not the same product, but all of our grilled chicken, any of the chickens that we're using in our dishes, that would be something like a Cajun chicken pasta, that's going to be halal chicken. And then we also, when making our menu signage, we indicate if something is halal. So if it contains alcohol, we wouldn't put that icon. So it's not just simply that we're adding halal chicken now. We also are indicating if there are other things in that dish that would make something not halal. People might be curious, well, like outside of halal chicken, what is available to me? So this year we're transitioning into the VDub, is the location that is sort of going to be a hub for that space. So there will be times when they're going to sub out another animal protein for a halal protein. So if it's not chicken, but we had something on the menu that was like a turkey product, there will be times where we will have a separate halal option. It's not every single time. We are going to be working out the frequency by which we're doing that. But all of those things will be labeled. It will be very clear that that's the option. And I know there are other locations on campus that are going to be doing things as well. So for example, at the refectory, because we have the pizza station there, every Thursday we do a lamb gyro pizza that has halal lamb on it. So there are these things that are happening across campus. If somebody wants sort of like a rundown of exactly what those items are, they can reach out to me. Well, we're also collaborating with the Muslim chaplain on all of this, so he would also be a resource if students are curious about that. And then I don't know, Bobby, do you want to add? I know some things specifically happen at Andrews around halal as well.
Yeah, we actually, one of our chefs at Andrews, who drives the menu, actually eats a halal diet. So we do a lot of different specials with lamb, the chicken that Jesse mentioned, but we feature a lot of halal dishes throughout the year as pop-up specials and as part of the regular menu rotation.
Thank you very much. Bobby, I think this question is for you. There were a few questions about how mobile ordering works, whether that's just for retail or if they can use that for any of the eateries around dining. So if you could clarify that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So this fall, we're going to offer mobile ordering at 2 locations, Andrews Commons and the Ivy Room, which is located underneath the Sharp Refectory or the Ratty. Um, that will give students one option on each side of the campus. The way it works is our meal plan service is run by a company called Seaboard. So we use their native app. It's called Get Food. Um, there's actually there'll be a QR code throughout campus to download the app, and they can go ahead and do it before they arrive to campus as well. So they would log into the Get Food app, and the menus for each location for that specific day would display. And they would select their item, select the time that they wish to pick up, hit submit, and they'll be given a due time of when they can expect it to be done. They arrive with the confirmation via the app, and they're handed their bag of food, and they're on their way. So it's a pretty seamless, quick service, and we think it's going to be a great addition to our overall program.
Thank you. There were a few questions about students arriving before the semester begins, especially for pre-orientation. So if we could just get a quick answer for when meal plan begins for that, whether the students would be able to access food during that time and when that would begin.
So meal plan officially begins on September 2nd, but if a student is here with a sponsored group, then they do have access to the dining halls. So if they are a resident peer leader, if they're being asked to come onto campus for some specific reason because they're a part of a group, they do have access to a meal plan. Those are happening right now. So there's no reason why if a student is here, they shouldn't be getting meals from us. The location that is open is the VDub, the Verney Woolley. That's the only location that's open right now. So that's feeding all of the students. If they get to that location, they won't be turned away if for some reason they haven't been identified or their card isn't turned on. So they should just leave their contact information and the group who they are involved with. So that will get sent back to the main office, and we'll try to do some digging into, why that student's ID card hasn't been turned on. But so I would say that that is the best first step, because a student may have their ID card turned on and they're not even aware. So visiting the VDub right now, and then for all other students who are just arriving for orientation, their meal plans will be active on September 2nd when all first years are being asked to be on campus.
Thank you. There were a few questions about meal availability over holidays. So I was wondering if you can speak to what holidays we serve food on.
Almost all holidays now. So similarly to what I was just speaking to about early arrivals, so students who are getting here before orientation or before the academic year begins, there are rare occasions when the dining halls are not open at all. So students do need permission to be on campus during those windows of time. But if they are staying on campus, then they do have the option to participate. That could mean several things. You can opt in and be paying for meals yourself, because also on that tab that I showed you of the important dates, you'll also see when academic meal plans begin and end, because there are windows. It's not like every student who stays around during winter break, for instance, will just automatically have access to the dining halls, but we are open. So you can either decide to purchase a meal plan that covers you during that time, or if you're part of a sponsored program, often those programs are also the ones giving you access to a meal plan. So they might be purchasing one for you, and you'll just be able to enter as you would during the normal year. So if you are on campus for some reason, if you've gained approval to stay on campus during those windows when all other students are not necessarily here, we're here serving most likely. So you should definitely be proactive in reaching out to us about how will you participate in the meal plan if that's something you need. But again, those dates are also of interest for individuals too, because there are things like Thanksgiving where you might not expect your meal plan to cover it, but it does in fact cover it. So looking up those different times and windows when your meal plan is covering automatically your time on campus might be of interest to people.
Thank you. And there were also a few questions about where students can check to see how many flex points or meal credits they have remaining on their account.
Yeah, I can take this one. So we mentioned the Get portal and the Get food piece for mobile ordering. So that's all linked to your Brown ID. So you can, if you have the app downloaded, which we definitely recommend doing, not only for the mobile ordering piece, but just to have access to that information. Everything can be managed through that app, so they can see their balance in real time prior to visiting a dining hall, and right before they place an order, whatever they choose, or just if they're curious. Also, at all of our retail locations that have point of sale registers, the cashier can do an inquiry and check if they're curious, either before they choose what they want to use for the transaction, or even after. They can ask the balance, and the cashier can look it up in the system for them. So there's a few ways to do that. Then I think online as well, Jesse, is that correct?
Yeah, I always get confused if the language is their Bursar account, but where you would go in to make the changes to your meal plan, you will also be able to find your balance there. Yeah.
Excellent. There was a question about how to sign up for menu mail.
Maybe again, I will just go back to that website because it's probably easier to do show and tell. Let's see if I can even find it. So I assume we're going to go to the menus, and then so yeah. So if you go under this dining locations and menus, you'll see menu mail, and then you just put your email in, and then you select the locations where you want to subscribe to, and yep, it's as simple as that.
There was a question about students who may need to quarantine when they arrive on campus. How will dining services provide food for them?
In a couple ways. If you're part of so I guess the easiest thing to say is you get if you're being asked to quarantine because you are coming to campus, and there are different groups who fall under that category. So I won't speak broadly about what is happening to each of those individual groups, but dining services does provide food. In some cases, you are coming to the dining hall, an assigned dining location to pick up a bagged meal, and then you're being asked to return to your room. If you're in a different circumstance and you're quarantined for a different reason and you aren't able to leave your room, then dining services is doing deliveries. But either way, when you check into this quarantine housing, you are given very specific instructions. There's a whole website that is only offered to these students who find themselves in that position, and it outlines everything, including there's a whole tab on dining for, if you needed deliveries of just a bag of snacks, so you had something in between meals, if you needed a refresh of something, if you needed water, or if you want to designate some specific information so that dining knows about the fresh meals that you're getting. So if you want to indicate that you're vegetarian or you have an allergy, all that information goes into a portal. But it is very much regulated and streamlined, and all students get the information that they need if they have to go into one of those settings once they are assigned to those settings.
Bobby, I think this question might be for you. There is a question about wait times for popular dishes, maybe how to manage that, or which eateries are likely to have that kind of wait time.
Yeah, so I think it's definitely one of the side effects that comes with making great food and on-trend dishes. We sometimes build up quite a demand for some of those items. So what we always try to do if we run into that scenario, I'll use a place like Andrews Commons. It's not the largest location, but it does serve a lot of students. So lines do tend to form at some of the more popular specials. One, we try to have again, I'll bring back the customization piece. Something we really focus on is having everyone go through the line and pick exactly what they want, and it's prepared just for you. But we also try to have something that's our suggested item or how we like to eat it, that's kind of more ready made and quicker, where they could bypass the line and get that, where they're getting, you know, a similar dish. It's just not exactly made for you. So if it's a make your own curry station, for example, if you don't want to wait in line and pick every single vegetable and protein and your curry sauce and heat level, you could kind of bypass the line and get one of our signature curries and be in and out in less than 5 minutes. Another thing that we do is we try to run other attractive menu items at some other locations on campus at a competing time. So it could take some traffic away from there to try to split it up. Maybe, you know, one Thursday night, you really want the make your own pasta bowl at Andrew's, but, you know, Josiahs is doing a gourmet grilled cheese pop-up. So you're going to go to Josiahs instead. So that helps take away some of the demand of the busier dining halls.
Thanks, Bobby. It looks like we have reached the 3 o'clock time frame, so I want to thank everyone again for coming to this webinar. This has been really great, very informative. And Jesse and Bobby, if you wanted to leave any final thoughts and maybe where people could reach you with any other questions that we didn't get to today.
Yep, I would say just probably the best way to get in touch with me is to shoot me an email. Happy to have phone conversations or email conversations with anybody about specifics. Yeah, please be in touch that way.
And I'm copied on many of the communications through the dining_services inbox. So that's a good way if you need to reach out to me directly. And I just want to take a moment to thank everyone today for their time. This has been great, and we look forward to serving you and your family this fall.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Bobby and Jesse.
Thank you.
And sorry about that. Thank you, Bobby and Jesse, and thank you again, everyone, for tuning in. And we look forward to seeing all the students in the fall.